Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your regular injection of strange, weird, bizarre news locally and from around the world. And as always, I'm joined by Rob. How you doing, Rob?
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. Yeah, I'm okay.
Good. Well, that made it easy. Any news before we begin? Because I'm really keen to get on with this. I've got a great story to kick us off with, which I've been holding for a while.
No, the stories keep coming in thick and fast, but no news as of yet. But I will obviously, I'll keep you posted. You'll find on the next episode if there has been anything. Yeah.
Rob, I've got a story here. Then just kick us off straight away from Pink News,
right?
By Emily Chuddy. This has been reported in a lot of places. You've probably come across it. Penis-shaped iceberg seen floating past town named Dildo, and the jokes are so bad they're actually good. I mean, it's quite remarkable, this. Oh, you haven't seen this, right?
No.
A giant penis-shaped iceberg. And so it looks like, so just to give you an idea, it looks like a huge cock and balls with the penis completely erect, floating along the sea. I mean, there's anybody looking at that would say that's a cock and balls.
Do I need to, can I Google penis-shaped iceberg?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay. Let's have a look. Oh, yes. That's incredible, Alex. I'm amazed by that.
So a giant penis-shaped iceberg went viral after being photographed floating past the town of Dildo in Canada.
How? Okay. I mean, Canada's an English-speaking country. Surely you'd want to change your name, right?
Yeah, don't forget the French, Rob.
Yeah, okay. I mean, does it say where it is, but whereabouts in Canada it is?
I don't know. The huge iceberg was spotted by Canadian photographer Ken Pretty near the town of Dildo in Newfoundland and Labrador. Who calls a place Labrador?
Oh, right.
With local residents.
Newfoundland and Labrador. Yeah, I mean that's not a French province. That's the UK. Well, not UK. British-speaking province of Canada.
The local residents have dubbed it the Dickieberg. The resemblance is, it's good, right? Pretty said in an interview with the Toronto Star. It's unreal how much it looked part of the male anatomy. I mean, it's quite astonishing. The photographer added that he captured the penis-shaped iceberg with a drone camera. Looking from the land, it wasn't quite clear, but once I got the drone out there, it was unreal how much it looked like. Well, Pretty said. People don't believe it's real. They think it's photoshopped. I can tell you, it's real. Pretty's photos attracted several witty comments, including, usually it's smaller than this when it's cold. Yeah. It's just average size, another commenter said. And another Facebook user quipped, is that an iceberg in your pocket? Are you just happy to see me? That's poor. Very poor.
It reminds me of, I've just seen the, there's a few episodes back, I just saw the shrinkage episode of Seinfeld, which I found very amusing.
I'm really enjoying the fact Rob's working his way through all the Seinfeld episodes and then he'll text me things about. So had you never watched them all before, Rob?
There's certain episodes I've definitely seen. I think episodes from season 3 and 4 were the most familiar. But yeah, I'm now on season 6 and I mean, there's been some, I haven't seen any so far. It's been some fantastic episodes.
Yes. Right, Rob. Next story. CBS News. Where have you gone? Oh, God, I don't want to. Okay, hang on. Let me do it like this. Yeah, good. I can still hear you. Right, CBS News, Rob. It's a great story by Caitlin O'Kane. May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, yeah. I forgot I didn't text you that when May the 4th came around, did I? I didn't even bother.
Thanks.
Hundreds of pounds of cooked pasta mysteriously dumped in New Jersey woods.
Sure, why not? Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm looking at it, Rob. Just imagine the side of a riverbed, and instead of just amongst all the plants and vegetation are literally mounds and mounds and mounds and mounds of cooked pasta. There's a lot of, am I right in thinking in New Jersey there's a lot of Italian Americans?
Yeah, I believe there is, yeah. And
Irish.
Also, it starts me, Alex, because I consider myself to be a pasta fan, and to hear that so much pasta's gone to waste really gets to me.
Yeah. Imagine going for a leisurely hike and stumbling upon mounds of pasta in the woods. It seems unlikely, unless you were recently walking near the river basin in Old Bridge, New Jersey, where hundreds of pounds of cooked pasta were dumped in the area last month. Their origins remain a mystery. Nina Joknowitz, who ran for city council in the town of about 66,000 people, posted images of the piles of pasta in a Facebook group, thanking the Public Works Department for cleaning up the estimated £500 mess. It's a lot.
Jesus. Yeah, that's a lot of pasta.
In her post, how would you even get it down? Right, if it's not a riverbed, I'm looking at huge mounds of spaghetti. How would you even get it down there? Why would you have so much wasted cooked pasta, Rob? It's not just a weekend gathering where you've cooked a bit too much food. This is industrial-sized amounts. Is this another sign? You said in the last podcast, Rob, that we did, there was some story about toads or frogs or whatever it was. Sign of the apocalypse. Is this another one?
It could well be, Alex. I mean, we don't know. Maybe there's an illicit pasta racket going on in New Jersey that we're not aware of.
Good episode title, mate. Good episode title. Yeah. In her post, Rob, she criticised the mayor, saying he ignored the situation. You know, like the one from Jaws, Boris Johnson's idol.
Sure.
Jokowitz ran on a platform of cleaning up waterways and the environment in the town and wants to improve waste and recycling services with new initiatives like bulk pickup. While the visual of spaghetti and macaroni becoming one with nature is off-putting, many found humour in the peculiar sight, including Jokowitz, who called it mission impastable.
Brilliant. I like that.
In a Reddit thread dedicated to New Jersey, many people shared pasta puns. We should send the perpetrators to the state penitentiary, one person joked. Lead suspect is a guy named Al Dente, another commented. Yeah,
that's not as good.
Right, now we're going to move over to our website called The Insider. It's by, the story is by Anna Shoab. It's from April the 9th, going back a bit, I'm sorry, but it has to be read. I've had this knocking around in my inbox for a while. You're probably going to ask, how did I not read this earlier? Well, I didn't. Any animal lovers out there? I mean, we should probably put a disclaimer on this podcast, generally speaking. You may want to either leave the room or, just have a stiff drink if you drink. If you don't, drugs, something else.
Is this worse than the story you featured last week?
About the man having sex with a cat? No, because it's not sexually motivated, but it's still upsetting. Okay, headline, my friend. Chinese man jailed for scaring 1,100 chickens to death amid a feud with his neighbour, report says.
So, I'm not sure if I misheard you. Did you say scaring chickens to death?
Yes, he scared them to death, Rob.
What did he do? Dress up as a wolf or something?
Or that, what was he? The mirror chicken. Remember? That would scare them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, true.
A man in China has been sentenced to prison, Rob, after he was found guilty of scaring about 1,100 chickens to death amid a feud with his neighbour. The man, who Chinese state media only identified by his surname, Gu, snuck it onto his neighbour Zong's chicken farm and caused hundreds of his chickens to die by using a flashlight to make them panic.
Is that all it takes to scare a chicken? A flashlight?
Well, you got a fun weekend. Yeah, we could do it, couldn't we? Find a barn, sneak in with a flashlight.
Idea, yeah.
We could sabotage the Bernard Matthews operation.
I think a turkey would take more than a flashlight. I mean, Alex, I don't want to brag, but I've got.
We'll take that shotgun that mentioned last week. That guy mentioned.
That would scare them. I don't want to brag, Alex, but I've got a couple of flashlights knocking about, and I'm not afraid to use them.
Okay. The pair's feud, so this is Gu and Zong, the pair's feud began in April 2022 when Gu cut down Zong's trees without his permission, and Zong's wife then towed the trees away, angering Gu. So are you clear with this? So, because I'm not.
I am.
Gu cut down Zong's trees, Zong's wife towed the trees away, causing both of them to become angry. One night, Gu snuck onto Zong's property and caused his chickens to panic by shining the flashlight on them, which resulted in 500 chickens fleeing into a corner and dying from the resulting crush. And that's not nice, is it, Rob?
Oh, is that? I thought you meant they'd suffer some sort of heart attack as a result of the shock. That's quite sad.
Yeah,
it's quite distressing.
Officers apprehended Gu and ordered him to compensate Zong with 3,000 won, about $436, but this did not deter him. So Gu returned to Zong's property a second time and caused 640 more chickens to die in the same way.
Right, okay, it's getting petty now, I'll be honest.
Chinese authorities, estimated that the roughly 1,100 dead chickens were worth about $13,841 or $2,015. That's all a chicken's life is worth, Rob. I mean, it's not much, is it? Sorry, 1,000. So that is roughly $2 a chicken. I mean, that's what your life is worth, mate.
Supermarket, you get a whole chicken for about $5. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, you're right. Yeah. Gu has been sentenced to 6 months in prison and 1 year of probation. The sentence takes into account the remorse Gu has shown for his crimes. So, there we go.
Good to know.
Okay, Rob, you got a story for us, or stories?
Yeah, I've got two stories. I mean, they really contrast in theme, but again, very, very entertaining nevertheless. So my first story is from the Trochus Guardian, from the... What's the date on this? There we are. From the 28th of April. It's from the French press agency, I'm assuming. I'm not going to try to read the French. In The Hague, apparently. Sounds good to know.
Hey?
Yeah, don't know why they're reporting on it, but look, the headline is Dutch court orders sperm donor to stop after 550 children.
I've got this story, yes. I've got it lined up. Yeah. He's been told to put it back in his pants. He's got a lot of kids, this guy.
Well, no one's stopping him, Alex. I mean, he's donating left, right, and centre. I don't really feel that he's at fault here.
No.
They just keep, accepting his donations. What can you say?
But I mean, he's having to jack off a lot, isn't he? Sorry to be rude, but
sure. Under
controlled conditions.
Exactly. So, Dutch judges have ordered a man suspected of fathering more than 550 children through sperm donations to stop donating in the latest fertility scandal to shock Netherlands.
When it says the latest, yeah. What are the rest?
Hang on, does it actually say what the others are? Just out of interest. Hang on a sec. Okay, what's this? So apparently a fertility doctor used own sperm to father 21 children. But
okay, sorry. I don't know if that's funny or not, but
let's do that way. So the man identified in the media as Jonathan M., 41, was taken to court by a foundation protecting the rights of donor children and by the mother of one of the children allegedly fathered from his sperm. Dutch clinical guidelines say a donor should not father more than 25 children in 12 families, but judges said the man had helped produce between 550 and 600 children since he started donating in 2007.
But that legislation or that guidance, it's like so arbitrary. Who came up with that? No, should father no more. Literally back of a matchbox. I mean, who decided that number? Yeah, I
can't imagine the police are going to get involved somehow, and they're not going to. How do you know? Also, how do you know? Because there must be a record of how many times his sperm's been used. I would have thought. So the court therefore prohibits the defendant from donating his semen to new prospective parents after issuing of this judgment. It's the fact that the court have had to tell a man to stop donating his semen. I mean, it is quite exceptional. Should he continue?
Stop sending it in.
Or at least put it into a container. Don't just ejaculate straight into the envelope. Should he wish to continue with his donations, he would face a €100,000 fine for each transgression, as well as additional fines the judge has ordered.
He can donate to us. He can donate to this podcast. It's just we'd prefer if he visited LAPodcast.net, clicked on the PayPal button there, set up some sort of donation to this podcast. We don't want your sperm. I mean, Rob might.
No. I feel you should have started with "We don't want your sperm, but we're happy to take your money." I feel that
that's a very good slogan. Should we put that on the website? No sperm. We don't want your sperm, but we do want your money.
No sperm, just cash.
Yeah.
Which again,
I might start putting that on, like making up some posters with that on it. Just little placards and putting them on windows of charity shops.
What? No sperm, just cash.
No sperm, just clothes. Another item. No sperm.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that might write off a lot of the donations that have been given to charity shops, to be fair.
Okay, Rob, you got another story for us there.
Yeah, so this is from STV News, which is obviously a Scottish news source.
Wasn't that a show hosted by Ant and Dec in the sort of 90s?
That was SMTV.
Oh, right, that was it, yeah.
Yeah. I miss those days. Sorry, you just remind me of that. I was walking past a pub in Bishop Stortford the other day, and do you remember the SMTV?
Well, I wouldn't have mentioned it if I didn't, mate. I loved it.
Yeah, so did I. The pub were hosting
Wonky Donkey.
The pub were hosting a wonky donkey evening.
Oh, there we go. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Did you watch the? I don't. Look, I sometimes dip into I'm a Celebrity. Get me out of here. But I have to say, 20 minutes of one of the greatest TV I've ever seen was recently where they brought in Dean Gaffney back, and what's his name? That guy who's Joe Swash, whatever his name is.
Joe Swash, yeah.
So they brought them into camp, but before they could go in, they had to do a bush tucker trial to earn treats for the team, and basically it involved them having to drink. I think it was 5 or maybe more different glasses of things like these horrible concoctions they make. And Rob, it's just basically 2 guys trying to drink stuff, retching, projectile vomiting, but in the most hilarious ways. I mean, I could not stop laughing. It was actually just brilliant. Something about the 2 of them together was a fantastic double act. You must watch it on YouTube. I can understand that.
Yeah, I don't know why. We watched the last series of Violence Lab. I haven't really watched this season. But I think it's because the only reason I watched it was Matt Hancock. I think that was it, really. I just want to see how they can humiliate him. And then, unfortunately, he managed to come 3rd. But that's fine. Anyway, so technically, this is a follow-up story to a story we haven't featured. But I felt that the whole story sort of encapsulates what the original story is about.
How can we have a follow-up story to a story we haven't featured? Oh, because you're going to reference right.
Yes, the original story.
I think I understand. Okay,
so this is from Bidishu Terrari from the 10th of April, and the headline is Giant Ape Statue Spotted 300 Miles Away, Not Gary the Gorilla. Like I said,
I don't know who Gary the Gorilla is.
You'll find out, Alex. So, a giant gorilla statue spotted in England is not the same one stolen from a Lanarkshire garden centre, his owner has said.
So what garden centre's selling a massive statue of a gorilla?
No, this is it. They weren't selling it. Basically, the original statue was a feature.
Still an odd thing to have in your garden centre, but never mind.
Yeah. So Gary the 8-foot ape was stolen by a gang of thieves from the Reynard Nursery in Carluke.
Hang on a minute. Whoa. We had that story, didn't we, only a few weeks ago? And then the follow-up about those thieves in America who stole that Dairy Queen spoon.
Correct, yes.
What's going on in the world, Rob? This spate of thefts of sort of novelty landmark items.
I think society's breaking down, Alex, personally.
Yeah.
I think people are just out for themselves. I mean, this was stolen in broad daylight. It was stolen between 11 p.m., sorry.
But it'd be quite an operation. It'd be very heavy, I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, it's quite a solid piece. So it was stolen between the hours 11:30 p.m. on March 19th and 12:30 a.m. on March 20th. So the nursery's owner, Andrew Scott, previously told the STV News that Gary needs to come home. On Friday, almost 3 weeks later, eagle-eyed motorists reported sightings of a lookalike strapped to a trailer being towed by a car on the M40 and the M25.
If they knew it had been stolen, wouldn't logically you conclude it's not a lookalike? That is the statue.
However, Mr. Scott confirmed on social media shortly afterwards that it was not Gary and instead one of his brothers.
Okay.
So it was just a lookalike, unfortunately. I'm really... So apparently the statue manufacturer made several versions and it's believed the sightings were of one of them.
So what happened to Gary? Sorry, how would you... This would weigh a ton or more. How did somebody steal Gary the gorilla in broad daylight? What are they talking about?
It wasn't night, I should say. Sorry, it wasn't night. It was late at night. We believe
nevertheless,
we believe it was
why would you steal
it?
This has to be some sort of act of intimidation or petty revenge about something that's happened. Rival gardening centre, no?
I love it. It was a rival garden centre. That'd be hilarious. There's still this rivalry between all the garden centres in this area. So Mr. Scott continued by saying, "We really appreciate everyone's efforts, and because of all your help, we believe the thieves will now be sitting on an 8-foot statue and they can do nothing about it. Let this be a warning to criminals. You can run, but you can't hide forever." When Gary was stolen, it was believed to have been driven from Carluke towards the Glasgow area. At the time, the alleged thieves were captured on CCTV arriving at the centre in a white van. They removed the gorilla statue, which was bolted down in 3 places, and transported him into the van before driving off in the direction of Glasgow. I was half expecting a ransom note, half expecting some young farmers to have put him somewhere, but this does seem like it was planned. It's just disappointing. It's such a shame. We want him back. He's of no use to anyone. He's better here where he belongs. This is his home.
So I'm looking now because I needed to see the actual picture of the gorilla. Oh my God. Like, so the picture of the one on the back of the trailer, yeah, that, I mean, again, Rob, we entered in some sort of weird alternate time. Why would, okay, yeah, fine. Right. What, I mean, where would you even see that in the first place? What I mean is you work for the garden centre, right? You own the garden centre. One day you see this 8-foot statue of a gorilla and you decide, I want that to be a feature piece of my garden centre. Where would you even see something like this? B&M?
Maybe. Alex, I mean, if you walked in someone's living room and there was an 8-foot gorilla statue, that's going to be a talking point regardless of what you think of this.
Right, Rob, before we get on to our listener story of the week, I have a story from a website which I don't think we've ever featured before. It's called Reason.com.
Right.
And its strapline is free minds and free markets. So I can only conclude it's probably some sort of libertarian or right-wing sort of... I don't know, but I don't know. Free minds and free markets makes me think, yeah?
Yeah, it would imply that.
Right, this is from their law enforcement department. It's by Joe Lancaster. This is brilliant, Rob. Again, unfortunately, I feel like this podcast has lurched recently back into its old ways, Rob, of, reading very sad stories about animals, which is kind of really how we started.
Yeah.
A lot of local news stories were about that. Oh, God, Rob, this is a good story. This is a story with, we can get in some of the details, I think. Right. By Joe Lancaster from the 31st of March, going back a bit, I've had it in my inbox for a while, 2023. Police travelled 500 miles to seize girl's pet goat for slaughter.
Okay. Yeah. So, sorry, were the police slaughtering it?
Well, we'll get into that. A federal civil lawsuit alleges that sheriff's deputies from Shasta County, California, travelled across the state. California's a big state, Rob.
Yeah.
To seize a little girl's beloved pet goat for slaughter.
Okay, I'm really confused.
New reporting details how they might have violated the law in doing so. According to the lawsuit, in June 2022, Jessica Long and her daughter, who was 9 years old and only referred to as EL, attended the Shasta District Fair. The fair includes a junior livestock auction in which members of 4-H youth programs exhibit farm animals they've raised. It's like a show and tell for the farm animal you've raised, yeah? At the fair.
Right, okay. With you, yeah.
At the end, the animals are sold to the highest bidders to be slaughtered for meat. Wouldn't that be very distressing? So you have a fair and you have all these kids who show off these farm animals they've raised, who then sell them off to bidders to be slaughtered. Only in America, Rob.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm assuming this is... But I imagine if you're ingratiated into that kind of community and that kind of world, then it's probably second nature to have your pet slaughtered.
The fair takes 7% of the sale and the kids get to keep the rest. So, what is that, 93%?
Well, that's quite good.
So I've raised this lamb, and we sell it off to the highest bidder, and I get 93% of the cash proceeds, and you get a nice dinner.
Sounds okay to me, actually, yeah. I'll be happy with that.
Or possible sexual companion. In April, Long purchased her daughter a goat, who she named Cedar. From then until the fair, EL fed and cared for Cedar every day. She bonded with the animal just as she would have bonded with a puppy, in quotes, and loved him as a family pet. So you're now up to speed.
Lovely.
So in April, this woman purchased her daughter a goat. They called it Cedar the goat. And EL, the anonymised name of this girl, Rob, she bonded deeply with the goat. Okay? As if it was a puppy. She loved him as much as a family pet.
Right.
At the fair, State Senator Brian Dayhall was Cedar's highest bidder and pledged $902. So he pledged $902 to have this goat wife stroke meal.
Is that how much? Is that how much goats go for? I mean, I've never bought a goat, Alex. I've never had the opportunity, but
No.
That sounds like a good price to me.
But by then, EL had second thoughts about sending her new 4-legged friend to die. She and her mother tried to withdraw Cedar from the competition, but were told that the rules forbid it. Because this senator, Rob, he wanted his sex goat. He paid for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Alice has paid for it, that's the least he should be demanding.
Yeah. After the auction, EL refused to leave Cedar's side, sobbing next to him in his pen. At this point, before money had changed hands, Long and her daughter sought to terminate the contract. California law allows that a contract of a minor may be disaffirmed. So, Rob, they should have been able to because she's a minor.
Yeah.
Long told representatives of the fair that she would happily pay the 7% fee. So they're now in this standoff. They're insisting. Your word is your bond. And so she says, look, I'll give you the 7% fee that you would have got from the sale, $63.14, and she took Cedar home. Anticipating controversy, she later took the goat to another farm in Sonora County, more than 200 miles away. So she fled. 200 miles is a long way, Rob.
Yeah.
So she fled with the goat in anticipating that they're going to come hunting this thing down. Rob, I'm sorry, this has Netflix documentary written all over it. It's brilliant.
It does, Alex. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Have we got a good name? We'll think about it. Cedar the sex goat. No, selling cedar.
Selling cedar.
Oh, next to, what is it? Diving for Bin Laden. You can see it on the watch list now.
Bin Laden. Yeah.
We need to start our own production company, Rob. But in the following days, the rather amusingly named B.J. McFarlane, livestock manager of the Shasta District Fair and Event Centre. I love that name, B.J. McFarlane.
Yeah, it is good.
The state agency that runs the fair called Long and told her that if she did not return Cedar, he would have her charged with felony grand theft. Long offered to let the Fair Association keep the entire $902, which is like, look, I'll give you the money. I'll give you your $900, but McFarlane would not budge. Because, Rob, remember, the senator paid for his sex goat. Don't forget that. She also reached out to Dahl, who agreed that he would not resist their efforts to save Cedar from slaughter. So she also reached... So the senator actually said, I get it. It's okay. So actually, he was decent. He said, I support your efforts to save. So he relinquished the desire. I am, by the way, just in case any sort of lawyers or litigation, we are joking about the senator wanting to have a sex goat, obviously.
Yeah, it was quite clear to me that it was clearly Mr. McFarlane who wants a sex goat.
In an email,
is that what you're saying?
In an email, Rob, to the Fair Association, Long wrote of her efforts to make it right with the buyer and the fairgrounds, mentioning Darley's support and offering to pay for the goat and any other expenses I've caused. But Melanie Silver, CEO of the Fair Association, was unmoved. She wrote back that while she was not unsympathetic to EL's plight, please understand the fair industry is set up to teach our youth responsibility and for the future generations of ranchers and farmers to learn the process and effort it takes to raise quality meat. Making an exception for you will only teach our youth that they do not have to abide by the rules that are set up for all participants. Rob, you can't backslide on this. You give an inch, people take a mile, right? She concluded that it was out of my hands and that, I love that phrase, no, it's not out of your hands, and that Long would need to bring the goat back to the Shasta District Fair immediately.
I mean, Alex, I think that they're absolutely right in what they're saying, because I think you need to crush hope and compassion out of these kids at an early age, because otherwise they're never going to be able to slaughter these animals.
No, absolutely, Rob. I completely agree. So she concluded that it was out of my hands and Long would need to bring the goat back to Shasta District Fair immediately. According to records received by the Sacramento Bee, Silver then emailed an official with the State Department Food and Agriculture saying that an organizer of a local community barbecue has contacted her lawyers regarding the theft of a goat donated to the barbecue. So...
Can I just say the theft of a goat donated to a barbecue was a great episode.
Oh my God, right. It is, but Rob, this story is the gift that keeps giving. So, Silver, who runs basically the fair, she wrote to an official within the state's Department of Food and Agriculture and said that an organizer of a local community barbecue has contacted their lawyers regarding the theft of the goat donated to the barbecue. Well, it wasn't really a barbecue, was it? It was like a kind of fair, it was an auction. But anyway, I don't understand what's going on. 2 weeks after the fair, Shasta's Sheriff's Detective Jeremy Ashby sought and received a search warrant, directing 2 officers to drive Rob more than 500 miles in order to seize the goat and return him to Shasta County. The warrant authorized a search of a goat rescue in Napa County, but Cedar was not there. Goat rescue, Rob. That's a good... Channel 4.
You have to think that... Do you reckon the police officers who receive this job are questioning whether they made the right career choice?
No, they're loving it, Rob. Wouldn't you love to drive up 500 miles to seize a goat? I would. After searching the rescue, The officers drove to Sonoma County and took cedar from the farm, even though that property wasn't licensed on their warrant. In a court filing, the officers contended that no warrant was necessary to retrieve cedar at the Sonoma farm, as they had consent from the property owner to retrieve the goat. In an amended complaint filed in February, Long claims the officers were then required by law to hold Cedar or deliver him to the magistrate so the court could determine Cedar's ownership. Sorry, is this part of America like still in the 1800s? Can you imagine this sort of magistrate at this town court with the goat on the stand?
See, I don't want to be disparaging because we don't. I mean, do you think this is California, right?
Yeah, California is very obviously progressive, so I don't know what's going on.
This is why I'm slightly surprised by that. This kind of what seems quite draconian implementation of the law is still going ahead. I mean, I know that like cattle ranching and farming in those districts are still sort of big business, but come on, it's a fucking goat.
Well, Rob, so it was delivered to the magistrate so the court could determine Cedar's ownership, but instead they independently deemed unknown third parties to be the owners of Cedar, and delivered him back to the fairground. Long, the mother, now no longer knows what happened to Cedar. At this time, we don't have specific information. We can only speculate, her attorney told the paper. While it hasn't been confirmed as a factual matter, we believe the goat Cedar has been killed.
So, hang on. Were they saying that she never actually had ownership of the goat, or were they saying that after the auction?
Yeah, it's not hers. So they've taken the ownership, and now no knows what happened to it, and the mum believes it's dead.
Well, at least there's a happy ending.
Long filed a federal lawsuit in September 2022 against all three officers alleging violations of the 4th and 14th Amendments and seeking damages. Because, of course, Rob, the 14th Amendment in the American Constitution is you shall not take property of goats.
Yeah, you may not cover another man's goat.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Brilliant, Rob, thank you. While Long and her daughter admittedly sought to terminate a contract, it's hard to imagine a worse state response at any stage of the process. If both Long and Dahlia agreed to terminate the contract and Long agreed to reimburse the fair for its share of the purchase, then who was harmed? That's how it ends. So, I mean, it is quite... I mean, what you think about some of the crimes that are probably going on that needed addressing, and police officers were being sent 500 miles to take a goat, and this goat, you know, who knows what happened to it, Rob? Who knows?
Maybe we should dedicate this episode to Cedar the goat.
Yeah, in memoriam.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah. Okay, Rob, it's time for our listener story of the week. What you got and who's it from?
So this is from Face the Strange. It's
lovely.
It is only a short story, and I feel it probably did need a bit more detail. And I'm going to just put it out there. So this is a story from Thailand. Some of the names are going to be a challenge, Alex. So
could you just try and not read them then?
I'll do my best, or at least try and do first names, because the first names are slightly easier than the surnames. So
we don't need you to cause any more offence. Yeah.
No. I mean, there's always been that one incident that we've had to apologise to the king for. The king of Thailand, by the way, not the other one, Charles. So this is from the 24th of February, 2023. There's no journals listed. It's from the Bangkok Post. The headline is, "Drug dealer's new look doesn't fool police," which is, I think, slightly enigmatic, really.
Is he dressed as a chicken?
No. So
an eagle?
Also no.
Just thinking of our last episode.
Or a goat before you think of it.
All right.
So police have arrested a suspected drug dealer who...
Gorilla?
No. So police have arrested a suspected drug dealer who underwent extensive plastic surgery to make himself look Korean and evade capture for 3 months.
Rob, do you remember? You've got a very good memory. Do you remember? I'm talking years ago. We've covered so many brilliant stories on this podcast. Do you remember that? There was. I can only vaguely recollect it. It was about somebody in prison who had some sort of. Do you remember it was Brazil, and they had some sort of reconstructive surgery to make themselves appear like a woman or a man. And it was terrible. It was something roughly like that. Do you remember it?
Vaguely. Yeah, it does ring a bell. I can't remember the details of the story.
Our listeners remember that story. Can you tell us what it was and what episode it was?
Yeah. So Sahara, 25, who these days styles himself as a South Korean national named Jimin, was arrested on Thursday at condominium in the Bang Na district of Bangkok, said Paul Marge General, basically, he's a member of the...
So remind me what... Sorry, I've drifted off here thinking about that other story. Remind me of what happened here. You're saying this person was arrested for having plastic surgery to impersonate...
So this person is a Thai national.
But they tried to impersonate a Korean?
Yes, yeah.
By having plastic surgery to make them appear more Korean?
It doesn't really say what he had done, by the way.
Okay.
So police were able to track down Mr. Saharat, despite his evasion of arrest in 2022 by analysing the distribution of MDMA, known as on the street as ecstasy, to other sellers as well as buyers in Bangkok. The narcotics were tracked down to an individual characterised by witnesses as an attractive South Korean man. I don't know why, but I do like the as an episode, an attractive South Korean man. So Mr. Saharat confessed to ordering MDMA of the dark web and using cryptocurrency for payment, police said on Friday. When the suspect was first detained on assault charges, officers found 2 kilograms of narcotics in liquid form and 290 MDMA pills in his possession. But he was able to escape detention at the time and underwent an extensive surgical procedure dubbed Face-Off to significantly alter his appearance.
I was going to mention the film Face-Off.
Yes.
That's what sprung to my mind, Rob.
And yeah, apparently that's what he's done. I don't know how he doesn't give any more details, unfortunately, about exactly what he had done. But yeah, that's what happened. While the work allowed him to stay ahead of the police for 3 months, his whereabouts were revealed after one of his drug runners failed to conceal his movements, investigators said. The suspect told police that he intended to restart his life in South Korea, but admitted to not being able to speak the language.
Right, okay. That you maybe should, before having the quite extensive plastic surgery, I think the language would have been my first priority.
Yeah, so he is now awaiting sentencing.
Rob, just talking of drugs and sort of breaking with tradition, otherwise I'll never get the chance to mention this. It's just very sort of related. I just loved it. Just to finish this episode, clickorlando.com. It's from their local news section. Christy Zizo, digital editor. Headline: Naked, greased up Florida man accused of breaking into 2 homes, jumping into pool.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Strapline: deputies believe suspect was under influence of unknown substances.
You'd have to. Yeah.
DeBarry, Florida, a man was arrested on Friday morning in DeBarry after he allegedly broke into 2 homes and then tried to evade deputies by jumping in a swimming pool and onto a trampoline, all while naked, according to sheriff's officials. Deputies say they responded around 2 a.m. to a report of a burglary at a home on Highbanks Road and encountered the suspect, identified as 34-year-old Blake Tockman. The Volusia County Sheriff's Office said Tockman smashed out a window to break into one home and then left and broke into another house. Deputies said they encountered Tockman at the second house. Body-worn camera video released by the Sheriff's Office shows Tockman running from the deputy, jumping in a pool, climbing out of the pool and jumping onto a trampoline. The Sheriff's Office said it took 4 deputies to get custody of Tockman, who kicked or hit the deputies. One of the deputies was cut on the arm. In addition to being naked, the Sheriff's Office said Tockman was covered in wheel-bearing grease, peppermint oil and blood. See,
what a combination.
It's genius. I'm going to burgle a house, right? And I'm worried the police might come on and try and wrestle me to the ground. So I'm going to make myself like a greased piglet so they just can't get hold of me. I mean, it is genius. But what's the peppermint oil and blood about? Is that just like a garnish?
Well, the blood, I imagine, was his own. The peppermint oil, I think, is just why not enjoy yourself, you know?
Yeah. So they believe he may have been under the influence of unknown substance or substances. They said it took 3 medical professionals to secure him on a stretcher for evaluation and treatment. He faces charges of 2 counts of occupied burglary, 3 counts of battery on a law enforcement officer, 2 counts of criminal mischief and resisting arrest with violence. But, put him in the oven, Rob. He's going to be very tasty with that sort of, it's delicious.
Yeah, delicious, Alex. Absolutely delicious.
Well, that brings episode 391, I believe, now. 391, Rob? Yes, to a close. And we're going to be back in a week with episode 392. Please visit our website, LAPodcast.net. There's a donate button in the top right-hand corner. Now we're not doing the Patreon. We need all the donations we can get from you to really help support this podcast. Anybody who's donating at the moment, we really appreciate it. Obviously, it helps us most if you can set up a little rolling donation. You just set it up. It will guide you through it like on a monthly basis. But if you just want to set up a one-time donation, that would be brilliant. And for your trouble, you will get access, if you haven't heard them already, to our 47, 48, whatever it is, LA Podcast and Extra Jab episodes, plus our whole Daft Talk back catalogue that we did a while ago. So you get all that. Rob will send you the link to that. But we thank you very much for listening. We've really enjoyed your company. And we will see you soon. God bless.
And keep it local.